Hi everyone and welcome to the vlog for session 3 of the Ready Persona 1.
Oh,
Well,
that's great. It's fine.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
Serial killer. What? It's fine.
yay. Our friend is a killer.
Mhm.
um,
I, I liked all the role playing that was happening,
Mhm.
especially with characters that haven't had a chance to interact much with each other. Like I don't think Forrest had had a lot of time to interact with Gabe and Cade,
mhm.
and
Mhm.
Ave as well. Didn't have a chance to interact with them as either.
Yeah,
So
I think that was Ave and Kate's first roleplay moment.
yeah, it was. Was looking forward
Yeah.
to it. It's
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was amazing. Uh,
What was your
it's
guys' perceptions at this point of Cade? You had your expectation going into it. How did those expectations change coming out of it?
Mhm.
um,
He scares the living hell out of us. At least Abe is really terrified of him at this point. He's like, that's a serial killer. And then it's kind of creepy towards Forrest and then towards Abe as well a little bit. And I was like, oh God, what are we bringing ourselves into?
Good.
It's just
when
funny though that their interaction evolved to, yeah, it was genuinely an interesting conversation, and that's probably what scares him the most. It's like I'm just having a regular conversation with a serial killer, and I'm just going for it. So I was like, what the hell am I doing? Why is this so normal?
I like that
well,
dynamic to play with. It's kind
Hmm.
of fun.
well, they say that thing where it's like you have like a 1 in 10 chance of walking by somebody on the street who's like a serial killer or something. That was like a
Hmm.
statistic that I'm sure somebody pulled out of the air, but it's out
Right.
there.
1 in 10 seems bold.
that's really bold.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Or I think it was specifically walking around New York City, but I don't know the crime
Interesting.
Changes
rates or
everything.
anything. Uh,
So I want to hear everyone's highlight of the session.
I think I have two. One of them is for the real life is talking with Forrest. I think that was a really good conversation. Although I like the one with Abe because that one was funny too.
Hmm.
With Gabe talking to Forrest, you mean?
Yeah, with Gabe
Mhm.
talking with Forrest because that one was a lot more emotional. And then the
Mhm.
second one, at least in the virtual world, is just Odin just taking shots and just going at it because
Hmm.
it's no half measures. Just take the
Mhm.
hits and give them out if you can.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, for me it was a yeah bashing Gabe's son so hard. Poor Loki was destroyed. I loved it, and it's gonna give complications later, and I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Loki's
it's
not
so funny
happy.
that I had the moon card. I was like, oh my god, yeah, I can
Yeah,
use
you can
this.
finally use it.
Hmm.
I'm happy y'all are using your cards.
Hmm.
You should be. Don't hoard your cards if there's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
good
yeah.
use for them.
And then the
Nemesis.
Nemesis.
and then as well
uh,
the conversation with Gabe about the fact that there's a serial killer within our
Yeah.
midst right now. And it was
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? You're the smart one. Do
I'm
something.
being told.
Yeah.
I mean, the conversation me and Sage had in character is just something I've been hyping up to myself like the past 2
Yeah.
weeks,
I
Mhm.
loved it.
and I don't know if it went the way I wanted it to, or if it didn't, or if I didn't even expect it to go that way. Um,
Mhm.
I just really loved
I,
how it went.
I personally found it really cool that Cade feels like he owes you, that he owes Forrest a favor. And
Mhm.
I'm like, wow, like a serial killer owes you a favor. That's, I don't know. I think that'll be really interesting to see how you cash that
Yeah.
in later on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the whole contrast with that is, Forrest feels like they owe Cade the responsibility of trying to help them get through whatever they've come across, specifically
Mhm.
because Forrest feels responsible.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
that was just the roleplay was really fun. Really,
Mhm.
it was like we had good roleplay sections, but then we had these good like the Knave versus Loki, where it's kind of like
Yeah.
almost I don't know how you explain it, like roleplay scenario or challenge. It's this
Mhm.
random thing. I
Mhm.
really enjoyed that one as well. And then it
Mhm.
was fun to kind of like sharpen our teeth on combat again, still getting the
Mhm.
hang of that.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
just I feel like combat in this game is so broken. Coming from,
I mean,
I think that's kind of the point, though. Like,
Mhm.
I feel
um,
immortal in a lot of ways. I know I shouldn't say that. As soon as a DM
Mhm.
hears that, I'm dead. But I do feel immortal in a lot of ways right now.
It was
Mhm.
yeah, it was hard setting up the. I had to think of a good scenario that I know that you can teleport all over the place, and I knew. I don't remember about the impervious thing. That was the one thing I didn't catch. But I figured I had to put. Yeah, you can teleport everywhere, but you still can't be everywhere at once.
Yeah.
And so and I also noticed that your perception is not great. So I'm like, even though you know it's happening, you still have to find these people. And
Mhm.
you know,
I thought it was really cool the way you set it up. Sniper's nest, that's
Yeah.
brilliant.
thank you.
Yeah.
time for penetrating 11, guys. Though.
Time for penetrating 11 now.
Yeah. Back to the conversation with Kate and Forrest. I love the fact that Kate just said, "Thank you for the help." It's like hearing that from a serial killer must be so weird.
Oh yeah. Well, it's not the fact that he's a serial killer that gets Forrest.
Mhm.
It's the fact that they know it's not.
Mhm.
It's not okay.
Yeah.
Like I said in character, if it was anybody else, they wouldn't care, and that is true. But because of the personal connection, it's well, I don't even know what I was feeling in the moment. And it was crazy.
Well,
I can't
what I really thought was cool is the way that I interpreted that conversation, and I think you even said it, was you feel responsible for how Kate ended up becoming. Like you said, I made this person
Yeah.
the way they are, which I thought was really interesting, like way to look at it.
I mean, look at that encounter in session 0 or session 1 again.
With
And
the
Fresk
people.
or Amarillo kind of looks like a dick. Like, I don't mean to be like, I mean, kind of had like a holier than thou sort of like approach
Sure.
to the whole situation, and it's like that's not okay. And that especially directly led to it led to Cade's first kill, even though Forrest considers it theirs.
Kate views
Yeah.
it very differently. Very, very
Yeah.
differently. I gotta say, that bug I put on Gabe, man, that's paying dividends.
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, so nice.
What are you thinking now that your character knows that?
It's a good question. He I don't know, to be completely honest. Like, he heard all that information, and it's like kind of makes sense on one end, but he just completely disagrees on the other end. He just sees the world differently. So it's kind of like how he reacts to that will be interesting. I'm actually not sure yet.
Oh, is it like a thing you're hearing in real time, or is it being recorded somewhere?
It's real time.
Okay.
So he has like a little earpiece in there, and
Is he recording it on top of that, or he's just hearing everything?
so I do have an audio recorder, so I can. The way I see it is, I have an audio recorder, like an internet phone. These bugs. I think the combination of them, I could do a lot of different things. But I think what he would do, if it's particularly interesting, he'd turn the recorder on, and otherwise just kind of listen in until something interesting is going on.
Has he recorded anything yet?
Yeah, probably,
Okay.
more than likely.
Okay.
Probably several
Okay.
conversations Gabe's had.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's gonna be interesting.
I'm surprised you didn't try to slip any bugs on any of us, though.
Yeah, we'll get there, I'm sure.
Does he even have to? Speaking out loud, everything against Gabriel.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wait, what was the question?
It wasn't really a question, more of a comment of just like, I'm surprised you didn't try to slip bugs.
Yeah,
Unless you're saying that to Joey.
Yeah, there was a question I was asking Joey. Did you ask me a question,
sorry.
Joey? Or a question?
No. It was the fact that you don't have to put bugs on either Ava or Forrest because we say everything to Gabe. So you hear everything.
That's true. You
Yeah,
do
that's
hear
kind of
Does not know everything, okay?
Yeah.
Gabe
I don't think
knows a
Gabe
lot.
would bug Forrest. I don't think he would. Maybe. But right now he's just collecting information. He doesn't know what he's going to do with it yet.
Interesting.
Gabe straight up just tells you how he feels about you straight away. So it's like,
That's true.
he doesn't trust him. It's like, oh, let me listen in. Oh, he literally just say how he feels
Mhm.
already.
Yeah. I actually really
So-
appreciate that you're willing to just say things, even though you know you have a bug on you, but Gabe doesn't know you have a bug.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is Gabe going to say anything to his ex-wife about Cade? I remember we talked about that last time.
That was something, but I knew like we had a certain
Okay.
time, so I was like, yeah. I think what he's going to do is he's going to call her and be like, look,
Next
this is the
session? Okay.
this is the situation. I
Yeah.
still want them to come, but I need to tell you because it would be a really bad move for me not to tell you I have a serial killer in the house. So that's how that works. And that's why he was telling Cade, like, look, I don't want to kick you out because in his mind, like, it's not just even like the pay. He's like, if I kick Cade out, what happens? He goes to like a motel, runs into like the old a-hole, like guy in the front desk, and he murders someone.
Oh, he goes to the community center and kills.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
no.
he does something, and Gabe's like, look, I wouldn't be like in charge with anything, but like conscience wise,
Mhm.
I like if you kill someone, because the thing you have doesn't prevent you from killing someone. It just means when you kill someone, they'll know it's you. So it's not a preventative measure. So Gabe's like, I can't just let him go because this is why he was like, look, I want to find some of your old friends so that they can talk to you. Because he's like, look, I don't think I can like handle you, but maybe your friends can like talk to you and like get you settled.
Mhm.
And that's kind of how Gabe sees it. Where he's like, look, if I get him settled, get him some people he actually like enjoys talking to, where he sees highly of, at least they can talk to him, maybe help him find a place, and he'll be all set.
In Cade's head, he might just run away, just might bail on your house, but stay within
Mhm.
like a mile, but just be really sneaky about it.
Mhm.
If I may, Hark, was there anything you had any questions about, or like something you found exciting, or maybe
I thoroughly enjoy the friendship that Yellow and Root Canal seem to be building. Like I had I wasn't necessarily gonna put Forrest into that role playing session with her. It's just after Ave just had a moment, doing this thing with Loki. There's a lot of Cade stuff going on. There was a lot of Gabe stuff going on. So I was trying to just figure out. Forrest is probably one who hasn't had as much screen time this session. So that was why I put Yellow in with Root Canal. But I really liked what we ended up making from that scene. And you were a very, very smooth role playing partner, I will say, Ethan. You're very good at like the deep conversations.
I agree.
I have to say, and I really wanted to, again, humanize the virtual characters more, because even though they're not real people, I still wanted to make them feel like they're real and make them feel like there are stakes to what's happening in the virtual world. So that was sort of like where the whole premise of the shrine came up, and I was just trying to think, what is one of Root Canal's backstory that I can really dive into, and I thought that was really neat to be able to share that with Yellow, who also is supposed to give off this very, like, I would think, like, stoic and not super emotional exteriorly. So it was nice to be able to peel back the layers.
That was my favorite roleplay moment, and it's not because like it was my moment, it was because it was a deep conversation, and I do like doing that stuff.
Yeah, I do admit that both virtual and non-virtual, they involved Yellow and Forrest. Like Forrest's conversation with Cade, that dynamic between the two of them, I really enjoyed a lot. And did you purposely decide on apples because out of character, like it's fine if it was sort of meta, like you knew that there was this relationship that he had with Dr. Janice, who was on an apple orchard.
I was just gonna think cookies, but I think it was Joey who said maybe apples, and I'm like, cool.
Okay.
Apples.
That was on purpose. I wanted to make sure that it was an extra.
I
highlighted.
I kind of figured
interaction.
So I wasn't gonna go against you on that one, but Probably
So just
rush
that
the
extra
story.
little thing between Kane and Forrest. I was like,
Mhm.
could be interesting.
Devilish. That's what you are.
I also like that we finally were able to see Odin interact with Loki and Thor a bit in this one, which is just a taste, I think, of things to come in that.
And they're just as bombastic as he is in just every other
Yeah.
way.
Very theatrical, all three of them.
I really like that. There was just like the lightest of nudges towards, hey, we have this other trickster, and it just crescendoed instantly.
What?
Scene, you know,
Another trickster? What? Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
Anything else?
There are a few things that happened that could create special scenes in the upcoming sessions that I was thinking about. I wrote some down. Was the one that I noticed was during the shootouts, there was literally no one that could challenge Yellow. So it would be interesting that at some point there is something shooty wild that could actually challenge him. So that's something that would be interesting to see. Like now it was like, yeah, I'm the best, boring,
Yeah.
you all suck. And then if there's
That one
some there
Lego
needs,
guy survived.
it would be, yeah, that's true. It would be fun if there was something or someone that just challenges Yellow and just like, nah, you're not specifically the best one.
I admit I could have just made somebody on the spot to challenge Yellow. But again, I knew I had this big scene I wanted to do just in general with Root Canal, which I thought might be a little bit more interesting. So apologies if that was a missed opportunity. Go ahead.
Probably.
No, I think it's
honestly.
better this way because now there's a setup for it. It's like, we know now that Yellow is currently the best, and there's a great opportunity to break that down at some point.
Right.
Yeah,
that's a good point. I think we already know that Yellow's good at what she does, and Knave, I think, has to have more opportunities to prove himself. And we've already just did the rivalry storyline, and then maybe having another one might be overkill. So, okay, yeah, I think I guess I am happy with how it all worked out. So.
I will say, Joey, I like your creative play. That the way you're using your illusions, the way he did the big teeth, and then he just changed it to his face. Very clever. I like that.
That
a
was
lot.
very clever.
Yeah, I purposely put in the challenge to just only play with like illusions and that kind of stuff, just to challenge myself and getting as creative as possible. And I like how it's working out. Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah.
I will say, you guys keep saying like Yellow's the best at what they do. I've purposely not optimized anything on Yellow, so in theory they're not the best. They're really good at it, but there's actually some things I could have done, like put 1 or 2 more points into fighting or transferred some stuff, because I actually have a lot of points held up into like close combat fighting, but none of my character has like close combat stuff besides maybe like a single equipment piece that's like a snare, but that's just a snare.
Yeah, but you definitely your skills were definitely put to good use in this scenario. You know, I figured you'd be the one that can pinpoint where everybody was, and then you also can reach all of them.
Because I have 4,000 feet of range because sniper rifle.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that's a little overpowered, but but then again, Cade can teleport 5 different times and drop people off buildings, and
ridiculous.
Odin can just take damage.
Oh yeah. Odin just basically just kept taking shots.
And the Knave is just there. He's just there.
Yeah.
I know that we could have continued role playing with a lot of characters. I don't think anybody interacted with Homeboy. You could have interacted more with Captain Crunch, and then of course there was Livestream and Root Canal and Moji. But I'm curious if anyone has any guesses on who any of those characters as players are. You know that Homeboy is Thomas.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know the identity of the other ones, or if you want to give a guess as to who any of these people are.
I have no idea.
Because I think you've met virtually all of them. I think you've met all of them, at least. Somebody has met them.
I had a really wild guess at some point.
Give a wild guess.
Like, it could be completely wrong, but I was thinking that root canal could be Jacob Steele, and that the accident that he's talking about is maybe something that he's involved in that has something to do with his sister because she's in a wheelchair.
That's
Yeah.
a good. That's a good point. That's a very good point. You picked
That's
up on that.
something I
Yeah.
was. That was what I was about to bring up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm taking notes too, so yeah. I'm nerding out, okay? It's,
I'm impressed.
The what happened to what happened to that man that root canal was talking about was very specific. So it's cool you caught on that.
hands, yeah.
I mean, it can be easily translated to feet if it was
Could
like
be.
trying to.
Could be.